Right. And another tip is, if you're searching for images online, look for royalty-free images that you're allowed to use commercially. That is key.
What if writing a book is not just a way to transform the lives of many people, but also a way to create financial freedom and leave a legacy? Wouldn't you want to find out just how to do that? Well, that's what this show is all about.
Hi, I'm Hennika Watkis, Porter, speaker, coach, author of Podcast Power, and the host of the Entrepreneurial You podcast, inviting you to listen to the Entrepreneur Secrets podcast, brought to you by C. Ruth Taylor, best-selling indie author and the Caribbean's most trusted voice on entrepreneurship. Tune in for inspiration, information, and innovation to write and win with books. Get ready to dominate entrepreneurship.
Today, I have with me Clavia Reid. She's a professional graphic designer and photographer from Jamaica. She was trained at the Edna Manley College, where she graduated as best student in graphics. She has been in design for over 20 years, and it has led her in different areas, including working with advertising companies such as CGR Communications, Prism Communications, and with the Jamaica Business Development Corporation. Her love for publication started when she worked with a team on Air Jamaica's SkyWritings magazine. Since then, she has worked on other magazines, annual reports, and books. She says the best part of her work is designing books. And in 2021, she started working with me to form our children's books. And she also produced a cover for one of our nonfiction authors. Today, Clavia serves on our team as the chief book designer at Bambusparks. So without further ado, welcome to this summit, Clavia.
Thank you. Thank you for having me here.
It's good to have you. Now, you are well trained in graphic designing, but can you tell us a little bit more about your journey into designing? How did that begin?
Well, art is a part of my family. My mother did batiking and printing and screen printing as well. It started out as usual, as you know, most graphic designers will tell you. We start to redraw everything in the newspaper. Right? So that's where you really start. And then I did posters for school, posters for church, flyers, that kind of thing. And these were done with pencil and paper and marker, no computer at that time. And so that is how it started out. And I've always had a love for it. And when you're in third form and they tell you, what's your career choice, what you're going to do, I knew off the bat exactly what I wanted to do, and it was graphic design. So it really did start from in childhood, just learning from what I've seen my mother doing, practicing certain things, and then it just developed from there. All right. Well, the 20 plus years that I've been working in graphic design, well, 24 to be exact, started before I even left Edna Manley College. I started in the evenings at CGR Communications, and I learned a lot starting out in advertising agency. You learn about the deadlines that you must meet. You learn about the pressure that you're going to be under, and you learn about quick thinking on your feet all the time. And so that has created the foundation for me for graphic design. And I've been doing it on and off privately as well as working full time. And so I have learned more about publication, more about clients, how to deal with them, how to handle clients, how to hit the mark based on what they give me. So as soon as they give me an idea, the visual starts to form, and I come up with my ideas based on that. So it's been a long journey, a rough journey some of the times. The industry, it seems to be saturated, but once you stand out with your expertise, then that is what puts you above all the others that are out there.
Awesome. I knew it had to be somewhere down there. So let's jump into it. We're told not to judge a book by its cover, but we know when it comes to the book publishing world, that is not true. Your book is judged by its cover, and if the cover is not as it should be, then the book is not going to sell. It's the first marketing tool. So what are some of the tips that you can share with authors as it relates to cover designing? I know, for example, a big mistake authors make is trying to design a unique cover. They want something to set them apart, and that can often have disastrous effects for book sales. So talk to us, what should authors bear in mind when designing book covers or thinking about their book covers?
All right. When you come to your book cover stage, you don't have to be literal with the design on the cover. What you want to give your readers is a snippet of what's inside. So the colors, the combination of colors and the combination of the font with the colors, and in some cases the imagery, that is what is going to pull the person in to want to read it. It's going to be interesting. It's going to be enticing. It's going to want to get them to read it. So don't be literal. That's the first and foremost. Secondly, you don't always have to have an image. Your font, your typeface, your lettering can be the image. So bear that in mind. You don't have to be literal, and your font can become your image. Right. And another tip is, if you're searching for images online, look for royalty-free images that you're allowed to use commercially. That is key. Don't just go on Google and type in images and stuff. There are certain places that you can go and find them that they offer you it free of cost, royalty free. And then there are images that you can purchase, knowing that you purchase this image to use, that is yours, free and fair to use commercially. And you won't be seeing it every and anywhere because you have purchased this image for yourself to be used. So just bear that in mind. Royalty free images, or your purchase image, or you get your own photography done if that's a possibility as well.
Thank you so much for that. And I just want to throw this in there because it came out with one of our clients. Even if the photographer takes a picture of you, you don't own that photo in terms of the copyright. The copyright belongs to the photographer, even though it's you. Yes. And so we have to give credit to the persons. So some sites will say no attribution required, and some sites will ask you to give attribution. I think pexels.com asks for attribution, Unsplash doesn't ask for attribution. But the thing about using royalty-free images is that sometimes you will see the same images on other people's book covers.
Right.
So if you can pay to get a custom cover made and purchase stock images or take your own images, it will be helpful. And remember, she said, your cover doesn't always need an image. You can be a typographical cover. And another thing is that the cover has to match the genre. Yeah. When it comes to book designing and book cover, each genre has certain expectations. So if you are doing fantasy, you expect to see dragons and different things on it. If it is romance, again, even with the romance category, it is wide. If you're doing Amish romance, you cannot have naked people on the cover because Amish books don't have sex in them. It's the same thing with nonfiction, because we do a lot of nonfiction books primarily. Is that if it's a memoir, it will look different from a how-to. And so you have to look at the genre, because readers are looking to recognize the book in the first 2 or 3 seconds. They need to say, what kind of book is this? And that's the timeline. So I agree with Clavia, not being literal. Watch the font, because the fonts tell a story. Watch the font. So you need to look at what are the common fonts used in this genre. So don't try to stand out and be unique. And I'm glad she said that. Remember, it can be typographical. It doesn't always need an image. And I would add to that, Clavia, that images traditionally tend to work because the person has a status, and so their face, Oprah space will sell whatever she's on. Right. So in a memoir, you can get away with it, but if the image, your face is not adding to the message of the book and that kind of thing, and you're unknown, it's not going to help. So thank you so much for those tips. What about the formatting of the book itself, the interior design? What should authors bear in mind, especially when coming to a graphic designer?
All right. Once again, bear in mind the font choice and the lead spacing, things like that. You want it to be an easy read for persons. You don't want the font to be, I tend to find fonts like Times and those kind of fonts, when they're close, the what I call the feet, the serifs tend to touch. That can mess with the eye when you're reading. So I'd like to use what I call smooth round fonts, like an Arial or a Helvetica, thin, that kind of font, that are what are, when you space them, it's an easy read. It's easy on the eyes. Also bear in mind, I know that, we're looking at costs and things like that, but the color of your paper sets the mood as well. White is very stark, very clinical, so it doesn't set a mood. So when you have like an off color, like a yellow or a peach or a beige, it can set the mood, especially if it's something like a journal with Bible messages and passages. You want to set that tone, that mood for when you're viewing. Little things like what I call filigree at the top of your chapters or at the bottom of your page, that can also help to enhance the page, make it more easy on the eyes for when you're going through the book. So bear those things in mind. So when you see the designer sends you something with, a little curly thing at the top or at the bottom, just bear in mind it's in order to enhance what's the written word that's on the page. All right, when you've decided you've written your book, you have your manuscript down. So you look at other authors in that category. You look at their books, you look at their cover, you look at the word count, you look at if you can glance on the inside, if you have the book yourself, or you can check on it online, you check what is out there already. So then you'll work out your size of your book. Do you want something that is easy to carry around, fits in your purse, or you can carry it around, you don't want anything too big, you don't want anything too small, right? So work at that size. So you have 6, you look at your size, and you'd work, you think, have some ideas in mind before you come to the designer. Have a clear vision of what you want for your cover and how you want the inside to look, based on your research of others and what you want to convey. So when you have that clear vision and you come and you say, okay, this is what I want, this is what I want to have a feel like, then as a designer now, we come up with that creative idea that pulls all of that together for you and for your book.
I love it. Those are very clear instructions, because very often authors come and you don't know the size. So right. I want to add a little tip. So one of the things you can do, whichever platform you're going to publish on, go there and check what they call the trim sizes. So check out the platform. If you're using Bambusparks for your children's books or print book, go to Ingram, do the research. What are the book sizes? You're using Amazon. Amazon has about 13 different sizes. Go check it out. Right. Amazon also, for example, for hardcovers, they have different, they have limited number of book sizes for the hardcovers. So you don't want to spend extra or give your graphic designer extra work by giving them the wrong size to begin with, because the size, the font size and the word count affects the spine width. So how big do you want the width, how small? Those are some of the factors. So I'm glad Clavia just made it simple. Do you want something in your purse? Do you want that kind of thing? So we're here to help you so that your revision process will be smooth and you can get it done. So Clavia, what are the timelines people should look at for a cover? Because some people just want the ebook cover. They may have the skills like me to do their print book cover. Some want the full thing. What are the timelines, both for book cover designs and interior formatting?
All right. For book cover designs, I'll ask for 2 weeks, but I can give you it in 1 week. Reason being, I'm doing research as well on books of that genre, on books with that kind of theme, that kind of thing, right? But I can give your design within a week, right? Where the interior layout is concerned, it depends on the word count, it depends on the amount. I usually ask for a month. However, I can cut that down if everything is already checked, edited, cleaned up and everything, because that month includes the back and forth with us. meaning I set it up, do a quick layout. You look at it, you said, yes, you like the font. Yes, you like the look or the background color and that kind of thing. And then now I just run through all the pages and send that back to you. So that month is the back and forth of us going through the document. And right, so I usually ask for that just to give myself some time to go through everything thoroughly. When it comes to the editing and going through text and spelling, yeah, I don't read through everything. I'll read certain things. Say you have a heading for your chapter. That I will read because then I'll know what font to use and how to place it and things like that. But reading through the document, I don't usually read through it. So your editing must be either you or your team that you get to work with.
I love it, Clavia, because self-published authors tend to want to rush things. And I'm glad you put it in context. When we come to the formatting stage, which is the second to last stage of your publication, your book should ideally be fully edited. At minimum, you should just maybe find a few typos, but at this stage, you should not be rewriting, because if the book is not edited properly, it's going to take us longer because you have to proof it. We have to send it back to you. The timeline can even get longer if it is a colored book, like for children's books. So a typical nonfiction book, it would take 5 to 7 days for the graphic artist to perhaps give you a draft. Then you have to look through that. And many times that's when your eyes begin to open and you see the errors. Then at that stage, you're going to have your proofreaders looking over the first draft. And then you're going to send back corrections that is revised. That is 2 weeks. When it comes to the print version, you actually have to go and print it and review it and come back to the formatter and ask them to make changes. So I know when you heard a month, some of you might be like, oh, I want my book published in a month. When it comes to the print book, you want to always ensure that you print it and you look at it, because that is when many times you see if the color is set right and spacing is right. You will not catch everything on the screen. If it's just the ebook, I still suggest that you do a printout. The timelines could be shorter, but I don't think we can go less than 2 weeks, because there is a review process. You have to review it. We make corrections. And so don't be alarmed that you hear a whole month. It includes reviewing. And if you have a messy manuscript that's not properly edited, it's going to take longer. So please bear that in mind. In terms of price range, on average, Clavia, what should our authors budget for cover design, full cover, or ebook?
On average, for full cover design, front and back, you're looking at $250 to $350 for the children's book, because it takes a little bit more with the children's book. And the interior pages now, page layout, it depends on your word count and how thick you want your book to be and how that. So, okay, so for the interior, looking at $5 US per page for children's book, and your memoir or your novels. So your books would probably take a little bit less because it's words and we go by word count and that kind of thing.
I'm just going to give you a little tip, because we are authors. I'm an author. If it is a pre-made cover design, like you just need a little picture on it, it's going to take less work and it might not be as costly. But understand that if you want something custom made, like for the children's book, it is going to take you to the upper range, because we're offering premium services. And just check out the market rate so that you can budget for that. As we close out, Clavia, I just want to say thank you, Clavia, for the graphic design. So if you've been watching our summit and the promotions, all of those designs, for the most part, they've been done by Clavia. I am just going to show you a little bit of the work that Clavia has done for us. So this is the first children's book that Clavia and I worked on. It's called Donkey Say. The illustrations were done by Amanda Cowan. She'll also be working with us And Clavia did the cover, and she did the interior design, and it is gorgeous. The feedback has been amazing. I would encourage you to get Donkey Say and add it to your collection. But she did a fabulous job on this book. The other book that we worked on is The Four Brides. So The Four Brides, we got rave reviews on this cover. It's gorgeous. And this is a non-fiction book. And so if persons want to reach out to you for just general graphic designing or the children's book designing or book cover design, where can we find out more about you and how to get in touch with you?
All right, so you can reach out to me via Facebook on Vivid Concepts JA on Facebook, as well as Vivid Concepts INT at gmail.com. You can reach out to me there, and on Twitter as well, Vivid Concepts. So you can reach me there as well as on Bambusparks.
Thank you so much, Clavia. It has been our pleasure working with you, and we look forward to the continued work.
I'm Tamara Francis, educator and editor. Don't forget to rate, review, subscribe, and share the podcast with your network. If you'd like to increase your impact and income with books, visit authorpreneursecrets.com for more resources, including the books Pen It to Win It and Authorpreneur Secrets. Join the Authorpreneur Secrets Academy membership group for courses, coaching, and community support to write, publish, and win with books. Until next time, go pen it to win it.